Can the Detroit Lions do something they've never done under Matt Patricia? Beat the Minnesota Vikings.
Did you realize that you are a champion in their eyes?
Subscribe to the members of ISN.
Hey there, football fans. My name is Derek, and this is the Gridiron Blitz. Be sure to ring that notification bell and subscribe, because here we talk all things football. Well, the Detroit Lions head to US Bank Stadium to face the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings are coming off of an unbelievable win against the Green Bay Packers, and the Detroit Lions are coming off a pretty hefty loss to the Indianapolis Colts. The Vikings were led to a win on the back, or should I say legs, of running back Dalvin Cook, while the Detroit Lions just couldn't simply do anything on offense and stalled out completely, scoring 21 points to Indianapolis 41. Now the Detroit Lions will try to do something they've never done under Coach Matt Patricia, which is actually beat the Minnesota Vikings. So let's do like we usually do and go to ESPN.com and take a look at the stat line. So the first thing I notice about this is the power index. This is probably the lowest I've seen the Detroit Lions not favored to win a game. 27.7% to the Minnesota Vikings, 72%. So let me know in the comments below if you think that's a fair assessment. Now let's take a look at the stat leaders here. Matthew Stafford is 151 for 246, 1,916 yards with 13 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Turnover machine Kirk Cousins is 124 for 189 with 1,635 yards with 12 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. So Kirk Cousins throws almost one touchdown for every one interception. Lead back Adrian Peterson has 85 carries for 321 yards with 2 TDs. Dalvin Monster Man Cook has 122 carries for 652 yards with 10 touchdowns. Wide receiver Kenny Galladay, who will be out this game against the Minnesota Vikings and possibly for the foreseeable future, has 20 receptions for 338 yards with 2 touchdown passes. Kenny Galladay will be missed. Now, the Detroit Lions did sign Mohamed Sanu to the practice squad, but I don't know if he's even going to be a factor this coming week. And Justin Jefferson, the rookie, with 31 receptions for 563 yards and 3 touchdowns. Man, that dude is a beast as well. He's got Adam Thielen on the other side. This is going to be a tough day for the Detroit Lions. Now let's take a look at the injury report. Guard Joe Dahl and cornerback Darrell Roberts are both questionable, with wide receiver Kenny Galladay, running back Jamal Agnew, I thought he was always listed as a wide receiver, and safety Tracy Walker are out for the Detroit Lions. And one thing we know about the Minnesota Vikings is not only are they ranked 31st in the league, I think, in pass defense, they have Harrison Hand, Hilton Hill, Cameron Dantzler, and Dylan Mabin, all cornerbacks, with 3 of those 4 being out as they face the Detroit Lions. Now let's look at the points per game and the stats for each team. The Detroit Lions, they're pretty much equal, average 25.3 points a game, while the Minnesota Vikings average 26.1. Points allowed, pretty much the same here. The Lions allow 29.4 points to the Minnesota Vikings 30.6. Total yards, pretty much equal across the board in most categories, except one that's coming up real soon. Total yards, 170.9 for the Detroit Lions, 377.6 for the Minnesota Vikings. Passing yards, 273.7 for the Lions to 233.6 for the Vikings. Rushing yards, this is a big discrepancy for the Detroit Lions, as they only rush for 97.1. 97.1. Sounds like a radio station. But anyway, 97.1 yards per game to the Minnesota Vikings, 144 yards per game. Passing yards allowed, the Detroit Lions are a bit stingier on defense, allowing 263 yards through the air to the Minnesota Vikings 296.9. Rushing yards allowed, the Detroit Lions are getting a bit stiffer, allowing 130 yards per game to the Minnesota Vikings 124.4. I think that's very significant because just 6 weeks ago, the Detroit Lions were allowing 200 yards per game. And last week it was 140.1. So that's kind of good going in to face Dalvin Cook. Now, I would like to eventually see that number under 100, but I do believe that the Detroit Lions have the 16th ranked defense in the National Football League. So that's pretty good, seeing as how we ended the year ranked 31st out of 32 teams. If we look at the last 5 games for the Lions are 3-2, having lost to the New Orleans Saints in week 4 and this past week against the Indianapolis Colts. The Minnesota Vikings are 2-3 with losses coming against Tennessee, Seattle, and Atlanta. Now that we've taken a look at the stats for both teams, here are my 3 keys for victory. They're pretty much the same all week. Number 1, Kirk Cousins is a turnover magnet. We have to get pressure on the quarterback. And I can't believe I've waited to the end of the video to mention this, but hopefully newcomer Everson Griffin will be ecstatic and make that happen with pressure against Kirk Cousins. He's very unhappy that Mike Zimmer, his former coach, called him a good player, and he refers to himself as a great player. Everson Griffin feels very disrespected, and I hope he takes out his frustration on Kirk Cousins and the offensive line for the Minnesota Vikings. Most likely he'll be going against former Detroit Lion Riley Reef, who signed with the Minnesota Vikings a few years ago, and hopefully Everson Griffin can eat him up. So that should be a matchup to watch. But we have to get pressure on the quarterback. It remains the same every week. Number 2 is we have to be able to stop Dalvin Cook, who is a monster, by the way. He had over 150 rushing yards, I believe, or total yards against the Green Bay Packers, and was absolutely the reason that they were able to win that game on the road. The Lions have gotten better every week, holding running backs to less and less yards, going from allowing 200 yards a game to increasingly getting better and ranking 16 in overall defense. So hopefully we are going to be able to do that and hold Dalvin Cook to at least 75 yards. That's the number I like to meet. Somewhere between 60 and 80 is what we need to do in order to win this game. And my third key to victory is Minnesota's secondary. Minnesota has one of the worst defenses in the league totally, and with the number 31 or 32 pass defense, I think it's number 31 if I'm not mistaken. You guys can leave it in the comments below. Matthew Stafford, if he plays, will be hopefully able to exploit the depleted suspect secondary of the Minnesota Vikings. That's a point I also did not touch on early in the video. Quarterback Matthew Stafford may not play, having been around someone who tested positive for COVID and has to wait until Saturday and with negative tests in order to come off of that list. So Detroit Lions fans will find out tomorrow. So far, he's tested negative for COVID. If he tests negative one last time, he will come off Saturday and be able to face the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday. Now for my prediction for the game. As I told you guys last week, whenever I go for the Lions, they lose. When I go against them, they win. But today, I'm going to do things a little different. With the utmost confidence, I'm going to say that I believe that the Detroit Lions can win this game, but we have to be able to stop Dalvin Cook. Matthew Stafford will be down his top receiver, but now Quintez Cephas is going to have to step up in order for us to be able to beat the Minnesota Vikings. I say we hold Dalvin Cook to under 100 yards rushing, and Matthew Stafford has a beautiful day in the air, throwing for over 300 yards, and we beat the Minnesota Vikings to improve to 4-4. So there's my prediction. Make sure you leave yours in the comments below. With the conclusion of this game, the Detroit Lions will have officially hit the halfway point of their season. and hopefully they can be 500 heading into the second half of the season. Once we reach week 11, ESPN will then release its playoff predictor, and we will every week go through the scenario that it would take for the Detroit Lions to make the playoffs. I am an optimist. I am a realist. But while the season carries on, I want to stay in the season. So as long as the Detroit Lions have mathematical chances to reach the playoffs, I am going to look forward to them doing so. So leave it in the comments below how you feel about this game. Who do you think is going to win? And if you do score predictions, you can leave that as well. My name is Derek. This is the Gridiron Blitz. Be sure to subscribe if you like the video. A thumbs up is always appreciated. I want you guys to stay safe, take care of yourself, and I want to see you in the next video.